Hey everyone, and welcome back to MMA Alerts. Today, let's start with Khabib telling the truth about some bad news. According to recent news, Khabib Nurmagomedov, the former lightweight leader, was having trouble with his taxes in Russia. The Eagle is said to have owed Russia's federal tax services the equivalent of $3.3 million USD, which is why the country frozen Nurmagomedov's assets, accounts for his Eagle FC promotion, a charity, and a few other businesses run by the Hall of Famer were said to be among these. At the time of the report, it was said that Russian officials thought Nurmagomedov had bought new businesses and hotels in both Turkey and the United Arab Emirates with the tax money. This made a lot of people in the MMA world think that Nurmagomedov might be going back to the octagon for one more payday. However, a story from TASS says that the former champion is denying the claims and any wrongdoing. In response to the claims, the company said in a statement that the information about tax debt is wrong. Khabib keeps working on business projects and making them better. As of now, there have been no new stories about the accusations against Nurmagomedov. The Eagle once turned down $40 million to fight again, according to Daniel Cormier, so it doesn't look like this new situation will bring him out of retirement. Next, let's look at how Sean O'Malley reacted to the Colby Covington interview. Colby Covington, the interim welterweight king, often pokes fun at his peers. Not long ago, he only good things to say about Sugar Sean O'Malley. In an interview, Covington called O'Malley an all-time great, which shows that he has a lot of respect for the bantamweight winner. A lot of Covington's fans were shocked by his statements because he often calls his peers and rivals mean names. The former interim champion did say that he likes O'Malley's style and how he brings in new business for the UFC. On a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley talked about how the comments made him feel. Because both O'Malley and Covington want to play again before the end of the year, the UFC might try to make the most of the situation by putting both of them on the same show. O'Malley would defend his bantamweight title as the main event, and Covington would try to get back on track with a win as the co-main event. Next, let's look at Jon Jones gets hit back by Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, who is in the Hall of Fame, was recently targeted by heavyweight king Jon Jones. Jones recently talked about the heavyweight title race in a series of tweets. He threw Tom Aspinall out of the running while reiterating his desire to fight Stipe Miocic and even leaving the door open for a future fight with Alex Pereira. Jones once said that Aspinall's recent time as interim heavyweight champion was like Daniel Cormier's time as light heavyweight king when he had to step down. Cormier replied in a recent video for his YouTube account. Jones hasn't said anything about Cormier's new movie yet. It's clear that he's been busy on. That might change in the next few days if you use social media. Now let's look at UFC fight updates. Before this weekend's UFC Fight Night Barboza vs. Murphy card at the Apex, let's look at the latest UFC fight news. Starting with a change to the UFC Vegas 92 show this weekend, because Antonio Tricoli had to pull out of a fight that was supposed to happen. Now that he isn't there, Umar Sy will fight Tuco Tokos in a fight where Sy will try to improve his perfect record as a professional in his UFC start. At the same time, Tokos will be trying to add to his 3-fight win run in what will be his first UFC fight. To switch gears and look ahead to the rest of the summer, 2 new fights have been added to the UFC Vegas 94 card for July 20th. Amanda Lemos and Verna Jandiroba will fight at strawweight, and Tracy Cortez will fight Miranda Maverick at 125 pounds. Lemos will be trying to build on her win over Mackenzie Dern in February in the first fight. Jandiroba, on the other hand, will be trying to build on her 3-fight win streak that began with her win over Lupita Godinez in her 2024 bid for a title shot. That being said, Cortez will be looking to build on her amazing win streak that began when she came back to the ring in September and beat Jasmine Jasudavicius in a big fight. Maverick, on the other hand, will be trying to add to her 2-fight win streak, which ended with her victory over Andrea Lee in February. Last but not least, Meatball Molly McCann and Bruna Brazil will be fighting at UFC 304 on July 27th. McCann had just recently said that she had agreed to fight on the show. However, she didn't say anything about who her opponent would beat. Finally, the fight has been set up. McCann will be trying to add to his 2-fight win streak, while Braza will be trying to get back on track after losing a decision to Loma Lukbunmi in February. Let us now look at Tim Welsh gets a message from Aljamain Sterling. A recent fight on social media between Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley's coach Tim Welsh made it clear that things could get bad if they meet in person. Sterling hit back at Welsh in a video on his YouTube channel after they got into a fight on social media, which started when Welsh called out Mirab Devashvili for having a big nose. As soon as the MMA community heard about it, one fan wrote, because Sean is always with Tim, you'll fall asleep again. Someone else said, love Aljo, but this is so corny, it doesn't matter if Welsh used to fight. No one wants to hear Aljo talk about beating up someone who isn't fight. One fan made fun of the previous champion by writing, sorry Aljo, there are no judges in a street fight. Another MMA fan made a joke, does Aljo really believe that Tim or anyone else in the fight game would be afraid of him and his crew? Few dates have been set in stone yet, but many people think that O'Malley and Devashvili will fight before the end of the year, maybe in September at the NOS UFC show at the Sphere. It will be interesting to see what happens since Sterling and Welsh are both planning to be there. Let's look at the next thing. Conor McGregor posted a video that seems sketchy. Before his fight with Michael Chandler at the end of June, former UFC champion Conor McGregor posted an interesting video on social media that has caused some people to raise an eyebrow. 3 weeks ago, McGregor said he was cutting back on alcohol before his fight, and in the video he walks through a field barefoot and talks about a practice called grounding. It's to show that he's been hugging trees lately and it feels good, and McGregor turned the camera around and showed himself hugging a tree. Many fans immediately wondered if any other drugs might have been involved in McGregor's video. Others joked that he might have just brought specialist Ito Portal back into his camp to help him get into a zen-like state again, like when he was first starting to rise through the UFC ranks. Portal was wished a happy birthday by McGregor on Instagram a week ago, which caused a lot of speculation in the MMA community about whether the two could work together again when McGregor comes back. We'll now switch gears and look at Jorge Masvidal tells the truth on Fight. Recently, news came out that Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz's highly expected rematch in the BMF had been moved from June 1st to July 6th. At the time, many news sources, including one from Ariel Helwani, a longtime MMA insider, said that the fight was changed so that it wouldn't compete with UFC 302 for pay-per-view sales. Since the main event on the show is a lightweight fight between Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier, moving the fight to July 6th seemed like the right thing to do. However, Masvidal said that he had been trying to change the date from the start so that it wouldn't clash with the UFC. But as he said in a recent interview with ESPN, Diaz wasn't having it. But with the new date, fight fans should be able to watch over the holidays. The UFC isn't putting on a pay-per-view card for the 4th of July because they'll be having International Fight Week from June 24th to June 30th, with the McGregor-Chandler card being the main event. After Sean called Ryan on the phone while live streaming, Sean O'Malley and Ryan Garcia talk back and forth. Ryan agrees to a boxing match after Sugar says he would beat Ryan badly in an MMA fight. This is what Sean said. Daniel Cormier got in trouble in the MMA community after he replied to a tweet from Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin is mad at them for how they treated his call-out of Conor McGregor. He tweeted, "Let this be known, Daniel Cormier, Chael Sonnen, and Michael Bisping, ya mamas raised some hoes. You people really want to change what I said, even though you know exactly what I said in that cage. But it's okay, let's have fun." DC replied to the tweet with, "Shut up and listen, you had a dumb call-out. 3 of the most important people in the game are talking about you. It was the worst call-out ever, so maybe listen. Don't get too happy about winning a few fights at 170 pounds, bro. Don't even bring up Audrey." These are the things that MMA fans said. Cormier was acting in a very inappropriate way. He should get in trouble with the UFC. Not really. To be honest, it sounds like DC is just hurt. The Buckley call-out is silly because it won't happen, but it got a lot of attention, so it's not that bad. It's the same as calling Brock Lesnar out. If he wants to get the money fight, let him. What about when you call Brock Lesnar out even though you knew it wasn't going to happen? This is the person who criticized Brock Lesnar's call-out, so don't be that stupid. Hello, DC. Could you please leave the MF alone? Is that the silliest phone call you've ever seen? That red panty night is what everyone wants. Don't blame him. Chimaev was called out by McFraud Kinney. Bar DA still wants to fight Conor. Charles Oliveira and Kamaru Usman also do it in a quiet way.